are you most likely to get bitten by a vampire?
A 19th century novel.
Pinewood Studios.
Very good answer.
Outside your own house.
Where on the body?
Well, it would have to be some sort of protrusion where blood gathers and is easily accessible through the bedclothes, probably the elbow.
What about in a dark tunnel?
No, but it is a protuberance, as Jimmy pointed out. Big toe.
Big toe? A
Big
vampire
toe
would
is the
bite
most
you on the
likely
toe?
place. There are a number of misconceptions about vampire bats, obviously, but, I mean, we're talking about real vampire bats.
Well, who does your picture?
Aren't they pretty?
Oh, he's a nasty-looking one, isn't
That
he?
is a really
Tell
ugly
you what, that
animal.
Gary Oldman is a hell of an actor. It's like he really transforms, doesn't he?
It's
I mean, amongst
Yoda...
vampire bats, is he regarded as a bit of a looker?
Yeah, if Yoda had accepted the dark side... That's how he would have looked. Yeah. But,
That's a very suave-looking bat. Hello.
Would you mind awfully if I nipped you on the toe?
Well, I'm having a few friends over. Would you like a liqueur?
what do they do? How do they ingest their blood? I mean, what do they do?
They bite and sniff it up, swallow it, lick it, slurp it, hide it. Store it, draw it off
Who do
into
you think
decant
you are?
it.
Laid down for a couple of years.
Yeah, they do with the syringe. I mean, they're quite hygienic animals. Small bit of cotton wool, syringe, and then you get a cup of tea and a biscuit. That's how you know you've been bitten.
And a little tiny little plaster.
They do. You're quite right in one sense. They do an anticoagulant and a painkiller, so you're unlikely to know you've been bitten. What they do is they open the skin and the vein, and then they lap at it like a cat.
I don't want to alarm anyone, but I think a love bomb may have gone off.
Stephen doesn't need a love bomb to behave like that, you know.
Is it getting hot in here?
Yes, the most likely place to get bitten by a vampire is in the big toe. And what so begins with J and appears to be alive?
Is it me?
You begin with J and are most magnificently, radiantly alive.
He's on the turn.
Lisa.
James Blunt.
Closer, I grant you. Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson.
Oh! This is something that appears to be alive and quite obviously isn't.
Jedward, then. I'm revising my...
So much work
Take care,
to do. Yes, but in order to find out whether the brain is working, there's a machine that is used by doctors, an electroencephalograph, and you can tell whether a brain is alive by attaching it. And there is something that quite manifestly isn't alive, but if you attach that same machine to it, will give off the same signals as a brain.
Is it jelly?
Yes.
Fucking hell. I can't quite believe how intelligent I am sometimes.
No,
How did I get that?
it was wonderful.
You're a genius. Is it any type of jelly, or is it...
Well, sort of large jelly in a mould on which you could fit the electrodes of an EEG.
Oh, that kind of jelly, right.
From its EEG results alone, it would not qualify as sufficiently dead to have its life support removed. That's the point. I know that seems insane. The reason it
All
seems...
the other jellies sitting around the bedside weeping.
Yes. He's still alive. He's still alive. You can't turn it off.
Comforting one another.
Yeah, yeah.
There's one outside having a fag.
One wobble for yes, two wobbles for no. Neurologist Adrian Upton examined the electroencephalography of gelatin desserts, as he put it, to make a serious point about brain death. Because what happens is the jelly picks up extraneous electrical signals in the room from sources like respirators, IV drips, even ringing telephones. The implication is that a brain apparently generating similar signals may in fact be quite dead. On the other hand, it may well be quite alive. It isn't enough to use an EEG to tell whether someone's alive. That's the point.
So jelly is always wobbling just a little bit.
It's always going to be wobbling a little bit. But it is rather extraordinary, isn't it? It's an amazing thought. At least I think it is.
Lovely thought.
It doesn't mean that EEGs are useless. They just have to be considered with other things to suggest whether or not someone is conscious or alive.
Is that an excitable jelly just there that's suddenly flatlined?
It's flatlined, yeah. What happened, this is my question to you, what happened to 3/4 of the people accused of witchcraft in England?
Drowned, burned, killed.
We were much gentler than you might think. They were acquitted.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that saying the wrong message to witches?
We were apparently rather resistant to the idea of destroying witches in England, and unlike views espoused in so-called books, and I use the word book very loosely, like the Da Vinci Code. It is complete loose stool water. It is arse gravy of the worst kind. Anyway.
He's a blues singer.
Please welcome
Loose stool water.
Very good. Excellent. Well, that particular panful of that material did claim that about 5 million women were burned or hanged around Europe for being witches. There's absolutely no evidence there's anything like as much as that. Probably about 500, probably less in England. And they weren't burned, they were hanged.
The lawyer would have said, maybe not go to court dressed like that.
Two possibly burned. That's the only evidence that 2 were burned. The rest were hanged, probably about 400 or 500 at the most. There are lots of Hammer films. The Devil Rides Out and those kind of things. Usually Peter Cushing, and sometimes, if you were very lucky, they would have Charles Grey in a huge white smock. What is Australia's deadliest creature, in fact?
Oh,
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch.
After Rupert Murdoch.
Sorry about
After
the
Rupert
fact
Murdoch.
he came here.
Yeah, excluding a member of the human race, which I'm not sure whether that does or not, but anyway...
Is it the spiders, the funnel web, the red
It's going to be something on the road, isn't it?
It's the box jellyfish.
No, it's not. That is a nasty creature.
Is it rabbits? Is it rabbits running in front of utes or some sort of...
You're certainly right that most of the deaths caused by animals in Australia are caused on the road, but the animal that is most responsible...
crocodile?
Is it man? The most deadly of all
Snake.
Shark.
No.
Can we say that? I'm not born there.
It's not a bit of cat, though. In the year under the sample year, we're taking one human being in Australia was killed by a cat that year. But 128...
Cunning plan, executed skillfully and quietly.
It's the road. The road's involved.
Often the road.
Are the people in the car at the time?
Sometimes, yes,
kites. Is it
but sometimes they're on the animal involved.
They're on the
Horses?
That's a horse, yes. A horse. More people are killed by horses than... It's a very angry horse there.
That one needs a dental hygiene appointment ASAP.
Seriously does. Yeah, because they fall off and break their neck, or indeed they cause car crashes and so on. And horses kill 3 times more than the ones you've mentioned.
When we lived in Australia, my wife bought a horse and she's desperate to try and get me to ride, right? So she said, I bought this horse, it's really docile, you'll be fine. So I got, well, no, there was actually, the problem was it was too docile. What happened was it ended up being studied by Melbourne University because it was one of the few horses that was medically got narcolepsy. So I swear to God, it's one of the rare cases of a narcoleptic horse. So she buys this horse, and she said she couldn't work out why every time when she was grooming it, it would get heavier. Like that. And so she couldn't groom it because it would fall on her. So she says to me, "It's fine. The horse is narcoleptic. Get on it." And so I got on it in full motorbike gear because I wasn't taking any chances. I sat on this horse and it started to just... And you know, normally you kick a horse to make it go. This one, he kicked it and it would go, what? Hey? Like that. To make it up. And sometimes it would fall asleep against the electric fence. So it would go like that. Hey, oh, Jack Douglas from the Carry On.
Oh, well, that's my
Narcoleptic
kind of horse, frankly.
Yeah.
But it is the horse, anyway, that turns out to be the deadliest animal. What was the second commonest cause of death for women up to the year 1800? Yes.
Kestrels.
What a wild stab in the dark.
Childbirth.
Childbirth was number one.
Oh, right.
Very good that you...
Was Kestrels number 2?
It was number 2 I was asking for, and I took that to be your answer first time round.
Was it dehydration from having to lick the carpet clean because hoovers hadn't been invented?
Were these deaths at night? Because I could go with owls.
Let me say it's no kind of bird of prey.
Not even a swan.
Not even...
Swans flying at women really hard with stiff necks until they went through their bodies like a javelin.
No. It's a nice
Women
image.
lying all over the British countryside with
I
swans.
know.
No?
No.
Is it horse riding accidents?
No, that's, if I may say so, a great deal more intelligent, and I don't mean that in a patronising
Beaten to
way.
a pulp by the husband.
Oh, hello. No, domestic violence was not it. It was
Beaten to
domestic.
a pulp by their sons.
That would still be domestic violence.
Falling down the
Was it
stairs.
Being ducked
It was
as a witch
trying to do
drowning?
something. It was engaged in a domestic
Cooking.
activity. Cooking is the right answer, yes.
Death by cooking.
Yeah, largely because their dresses would catch fire. I don't know why that's funny. But it is.
The second most common cause of death.
After childbirth, amongst
What happened to you? I set light to herself. In
I bet a lot of their husbands came in and went, blimey, that's a big roasty.
What did you use this for? I have a picture of them here.
Oh, frighten the children.
It's a German invention.
Put a torch behind it, and then you creep up into their bedroom at night when they're asleep. Move it very slowly across the room.
It's a thing that is used in the lavatory, in the
Air freshener?
WC. No, it's a habit. It's for men to do something when they go to the lavatory. It's to encourage them.
the seat. Anything to do with the seat?
It is to do with the
To
seat.
dive off it into the toilet.
Noble guess, but doomed. No.
They sit down. Do they sit down in Germany?
It's if they lift the seat, which men tend to do before having a pee. This, I have one here. Here it is.
This is your toilet speaking. Wouldn't you rather like to sit down? Oh, you prefer to stand? Well, then you may leave now.
Poor German men don't actually get to go to the toilet then, do they? Hey, no wonder they're wearing that lederhosen and slapping themselves all the time.
No, the point is, in Germany, they think it's somehow unhygienic because they're splashing and things. They want the men to sit. So it's like, that's how it's attached. So when you lift up the seat, it starts speaking at you loud enough in a public lavatory for others to hear. So that men sit and have a pee. That's
Well,
the idea.
splashing is a problem. We've got builders in at the moment, and they're all using the lower loo. It is like the Centre Parks log flume in there.
What's the scariest thing about this? Isn't that incredible? What is the most scary thing about it?
The teeth.
The fact that they can't go backwards. I'm sorry, that takes them a bit long to type.
What's scary is subjective, really, isn't
What
it?
is the scariest? Well, our perception of sharks is apparently shaped by footage in nature documentaries, which tends to be accompanied by ominous music. So the thing that really scares you in it is ominous music. So they did a study at the University of California, and they showed 3 clips of sharks to participants. So the one we've just seen with the ominous music. Here's one with silence.
Hello, my friend.
And here... Have a look at this. Do you know what? There's a whole show for you, Alan. In just doing fish impersonations. We had the trout faking her orgasm last series.
We've done that.
Different orgasm, same trout.
Can you do shark who then has an orgasm? Can you combine? Mildly surprised.
They don't know they're going to have an orgasm. They haven't learnt about orgasms or experimented with themselves. And then when they have an orgasm the first time, it must be very alarming.
My worry is watching you do them that you haven't seen someone have one before.
When they do it for the second or the third time, then they're much more...
Is everything okay at home?
Anyway, let's have a look at the same clip with uplifting music. But here's the thing, they aren't actually that dangerous, and the thought is that the ominous nature of documentaries leads the public to have a distrust of sharks, and that in turn harms their conservation funding. The truth is, sharks kill worldwide about 6 people a year, and the same number are killed by livestock in Britain alone. So a cow more likely to do you in than a shark.